We are recording. I was about to ask that. Okay, so do I need to do something here?
No.
I'll do it. I didn't put leave meeting. Okay, so this is interesting because it's a camera I can control. So not very much. I want to make sure to get all these things.
Should we walk over there?
Yeah, maybe walk in front of the camera a little bit. I think just like line it right down there. Because recording is in progress. Okay, if you see yourself in the camera, then you know we will get a great screen grab out of this. And that is the purpose of life.
Oh. We should wait. We need to wait for her.
We're going to wait just a minute. But we'll wait for everyone to be here.
And hope.
Hope, were you going to wear a tallis? So come on up. Right,
Oh.
we're waiting for Brian.
When?
Rabbi G, when you call Fran up, I think that would be the best mic from where to do it. All right, so we're still waiting. Do we have everyone? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who are we missing?
Julie,
Oh,
she's
Julie.
online. Julie, are you there?
All right, so is it visible? Can you
Spotlight, Julie.
spotlight Julie and them? Julie, you want to put on your tallis? You see the backs from this, but wait, you know what? Maybe you should turn around and be in front of
Yeah, face us.
a lot closer. Okay? So everyone turn around and face the screen, because you'll see that you're on one of the cameras, the camera in front of the screen, and see if we can get everyone in that.
If you move over.
Jake is going to put on his steps today. He's going to simulate lots of steps.
Wait, so we're missing a whole, so something, we have to.
So does Fran need to move over and make it for everyone? All right, do we need to move? Okay, there we go. Baruch
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
So now you kiss.
Wait. It's not being recorded.
It is.
You sure?
We heard the recording.
Yeah, it is. You're all set.
All right, so where your thumbs are, but don't kiss your thumbs. You kiss the corners of the Atara, and then, this is the basic, Count Dracula.
Or Zorro. Zorro.
Zorro, right.
Yeah, it's
so
more
someone
Zorro.
Good.
Someone.
And we're masked.
Yeah.
It also says we're muted.
You're okay.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It would be nice, but
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
yeah, I don't think we want this sound to mix in with everything else. So
I'm not a techie.
that's okay. We got the screen grab. That's what matters eventually. Okay, so any last minute questions? So remember, I'm going to be sitting right back here. The cantor's going to be right over there. You're all good. You all know which cup is yours for the very end. And yes.
I'm gonna turn this off.
No, up here you don't. If you're doing it all together, clusters, yeah.
No, we're back here.
Test. Oh. Yeah, we didn't tell them that. Hang on. We didn't tell them that. Yeah, we didn't tell. Hang on, I just have to unmute here.
B'nai Mitzvah class? B'nai Mitzvah class, when, I don't want to be on the mic because we're already streaming, but when you come up for the Haftarah blessings, come on this side instead of this side. Everybody know? It might be too late.
Well, they do them in unison.
Oh, they're all together. And they're all on, they've been lining up over there. They're probably going to line up. Melody, did you hear me? Line up on this side for the Haftarah blessings. Okay. Saffron?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Believe it or not, it is 9:59. Time flies when you're having fun. So we are about to begin.
Yeah. Okay. Ready?
We've already got about 30 devices checking us out. So we're not alone. I mean, we're not alone in here either, but we are definitely not alone in terms of the total number of people who are participating today. So, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
If I can ask for your attention, this is going to be like 9 different family reunions going on at the same time. Imagine that. Imagine like 9 Thanksgivings happen. No, don't even try to imagine that. But at the same time, and it's really for us looking out, it's just one kvel after another. But it also means we just have to be as cooperative as possible. So we are going to begin our service with a nigun, just to get us into the mood for prayer.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
So a special welcome to all those watching us on Zoom right now, and I know that's going to increase as we go through the service. There are 3 things in the chat, 3 PDFs that you have available for you. One is the service itself, So make sure to click on that if you don't have a Siddur at home, as you'll be able to follow along. The second is, this is the order of service and the booklet that our students have put together, and it is an amazing booklet, but it will sort of give you a scorecard of who's coming up when, so that's good to have. And the third is the Torah portion. You won't need that yet, but you can see that it's all there in the chat, and I'll remind you of it. So we're going to begin on page 147 of our Siddur with Shacharit, with the morning service. Shochenad.
שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני אלי שרים נאווה תהילה בפי שרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש יאי אלי יאי אלי 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 יאי אלי יאי אלי אלי יאי אלי יאי אלי יאי אלי ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל ברינה יפה שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור שכן חובה כל היצורים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו להודות להלל לשבח לפאר לרומם להדר לברך להלל ולקלס על כל דברי שירו ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ כי לך נאי אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהינו שיר שפחה הלל וזמרה ברכות והודעות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוכה בשירי זמרה מלך אלכי העולמים
And we rise.
יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביום יחון ובחיי דחו בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם מעלמיה יפרח וישתבח ויפאר וירום ויתעשה ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי קודשה בריחו לעילה מן כה ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה מעלמה ואמרו אמן
149
ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ובורא חושך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
And we are seated. We're on page 150.
Hum 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 Hameira, Hameira, Hameira la'aretz v'ladarim aleha berachamim. Hameira, Hameira, Hameira la'aretz v'ladarim aleha.
V'ladarim aleha.
V'ladarim aleha.
V'ladarim aleha.
V'ladarim aleha. V'ladarim aleha.
V'ladarim aleha.
ברחמים ובטובה מחדשת בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. הם
And this section on creation concludes on the bottom of 153.
אור חדש הציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני
Shema.
יוצא מאורו.
Page 154, the blessing of love, commitment, and Torah.
אהבה רבה אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו. אהבה רבה אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו. חמלה גדולה ותרחמת עלינו. אהבה רבה אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו. והאר עינינו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך וייחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי פועל ישועת אתה ובנו בחרת מקולם בלשון וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני
Shema.
הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
155.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Shema. We're on 156, the rest of the Shema.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Bottom of page 156, you will see a few lines. These words we're going to chant in a stream as a mantra, and we're going to chant together. I invite you to place your hands upon your heart and keep the rhythm of a heartbeat as we take these words to heart, truly. Here we go. So keeping the beat with me like this. Emet ויציב ונכון וקיים וישר ונאמן ואהוב וחביב ונחמד ונעים ונורא ואדיר ומתוקן ומקובל וטוב ויפה הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד. אמת ויציב ונכון וקיים וישר ונאמן ואהוב וחביב ונחמד ונעים ונורא ואדיר ומתוקן ומקובל וטוב ויפה הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד. עלינו לעולם ועד. עלינו לעולם ועד.
Let's continue now on page 158, Blessing of Redemption, the Prayer of Redemption, middle of the page.
תהילו לאל עליון ברוך ומבורך משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה נורא תהילות אוסף אלה שירה חדשה שבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We rise.
צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ופדה חינומך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני
Shema.
גאה ישראל.
Amen. We're on page 159, the Amidah.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיים את מטריו להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ברופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך וכרזה אל זה ואמר. קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא הארץ כבודו. אז בקור רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, ממקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון? בקרוב בימינו לעולם ותשכון. תתגדל ותקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. ועינינו תראינה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. A few moments to complete the Amida silently, 162 through 166. Again, for those at home who don't have a Siddur, you can find the link to the service. It's found in the chat.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך.
Feel free to be seated.
אדוני צורי וגואלי. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
Page 167, Kaddish Shalem.
יתגדל ויקדש אמר הבא, ועלמא דברה כירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דחו בית ישראל, בגלה וזמן קריב והימרו, אמן יהי שמי רבא מברך, לעולם ולעל מעלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, יפע ורומם וירסה, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה, ברכו לאלה מן כה ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה מעלמה ואמרו, אמן. תקבע צלותכון ובעדכון כל ישראל, קודם אבוהון ושמיה ואמרו, אמן. יהי שלום רבא מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ויעקב ישראל ואמרו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ויעקב ישראל ויעקב יושבי תבל, ואמרו, amen.
Shabbat Shalom once again, and another Shabbat Shalom to all of those watching on Zoom as well. We are all one congregation here this morning, and for those in the UK this afternoon, and elsewhere, actually write into the chat where you're watching from. I'd love to get a sense of how global this event is. I know that we're across the US as well. So we're going to come now to the Torah service, and that's where our B'nai Mitzvah will be most involved in the service today. And Leslie and Joe Hyacinth are coming up to help out with the Torah service. And it must be said that Leslie has done an incredible job of organizing so much of what you're seeing here today. And we are so grateful to you and through you to the whole class. So let's begin. We are, remember the PDF of the entire service is in your chat. We're on page 168, taking out the Torah.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai v'ein k'ma'asecha Malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed Adonai oz li'amo yitain Adonai yivorech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim hetiva v'irtzonecha et Zion Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki v'chol levad batachnu Melech Yeram v'isa Adon olamim. We rise in body or spirit as the ark is opened. Vayhi binto Aaron, Vayomer Moshe, Kumo Adonai, V'yavutzu oivecha, V'yanusu misanecha mipanecha, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Udevar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch Shenotan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenotan Torah Torah, Li'amo Yisrael B'Kdushato. Bottom of page 170. Be'anarachetz v'lishme kadisha kadisha yakira anai martush bechan Be'anarachetz v'lishme kadisha kadisha yakira Anai martush bechan. Yeherava kodamak tetiv tachli bibi orayata betashli mishlalim delibi velibadich dichol amach Yisrael letavul chayin velishlam. Amen.
Page 171.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Adnu Adonai ti Unramema Shemo Yachdav.
Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod ki cho b'shamayim u'va'aretz ki cho b'shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai hamamlacha והמתנשא לכל ראש רוממו, רוממו, אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו, והשתחוו, לאדום רגליו קדוש הוא, רוממו, רוממו, אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו, והשתחוו להר קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
Please be seated. Okay. The sticky is gone. That's okay. We're good. So, our portion this morning is Vayetze. It's an amazing portion. I do say that every week, but it still is an amazing portion in that it speaks of Jacob both leaving the land at the beginning of the portion with all the trepidation as he sets out on his journey, and that famous dream at a place called, of all things, Bethel. We're going to hear more about the portion a little later on from our B'nai Mitzvah. And then at the end of the portion, which is the part we're reading, because we're on the third part of the triennial cycle, he's returning to the land, and with all the trepidation that that brings, leaving some family behind, and family conflicts that he can't leave behind him as he encounters his family members that have been a source of tension. Anyway, so we're going to follow along. The portion is found in the Chumashim, the other red book, at your pews on page 181, verse 17. Now, once again, for those of you at home, we have the PDF of the portion that is found in the chat, and maybe Jake is our fabulous engineer here today, thank you, along with Stan. If you could maybe put it back there one more time in case people have come in late. And also, we have the B'nai Mitzvah booklet, the beautiful booklet that the class put together, which has the order of service, so you'll get to see who's coming up when and what verse we're on within, as well as their fabulous stories. So make sure to take a look at that. There's one other thing for those watching at home, and you are as much a part of this as everyone in this room right now. You have one advantage, because generally we don't write on Shabbat, we're traditional, But writing that isn't permanent, meaning electronically in the chat, we sort of say that's okay. Not only that, but everyone of our class will have a chance through the archived files to see the mazel tovs that you put into the chat. So I encourage people to send personal messages. Everyone is going to be muted, of course, those who are on, not in this room, you're not muted, but those who are online will be muted except for one person, Julie Harris, who is one of our B'nai Mitzvah, who's going to be chiming in from Little Rock a little later on. So those are the ground rules. We set it all up. Cantor is going to be calling up each of our students one at a time, and the Torah reading begins. Once again, page 181, verse 17. Vayakam Yaakov.
Tamor habar mitzvah Chana bat Avraham menes v'chayayenta V'aliyah harishona chizki.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten haTorah. Vayakom Yaakov vayisa et banav et nashav al hagimalim vayinhag et kol miknehu v'et kol rechusho asher achash miknei kinyano asher achash bifadan aram lavo el Yitzchak aviv artsa Kenan v'lavan halach ligzoz et sono vatiknov Rachel et hatirafim asher leaviha vayiknov Yaakov et lev Lavan ha'arami al beli higid lo ki voreach hu vayivrachu v'chol asher lo vayakom vayavor et hanahar vayasem et panav har hagilad. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yay.
Yesher Koach and Mazel Tov to Hope Stanger. And we're going to do this for each one. It's great. So for the second one, you don't need to. It's just me.
Ya'amod Rav Yehoshua Yehonatan ben Hechazan Michael v'Miriam l'Aliyah ha'shniyah.
Okay. Okay, I will find this. While I'm finding it, yeah, I got it. All right, so reminder that you can put mazel tovs into the chat. And for all those who are looking for a Bible, let's say you can't get the PDF of the Torah portion, you're at home. Let's say you're at a hotel, like Julie is. Just go into the drawer of the night table, and you'll get it right there. Here we go. Baruch hu et Adonai Amvarach.
Baruch Adonai Amvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Amvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'cha banu mikol amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. V'yugad l'Lavan b'yom hashlishi kavach Yaakov. V'yikach et achav imo v'yirdof acharav derech shivat yamim v'et bekoto b'har Gilad. V'yavo Elohim el Lavan arami b'chalom halayla v'yomer lo hishamer lecha pen tedaber im Yaakov mitov ad ra'ah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chai olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Now the third aliyah, verse 25.
Tamor habat mitzvah Zipporah bat Avraham v'Sara l'aliyah hashlishit chizki.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'cha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayasek Lavan et Yaakov veYaakov taka et ulo baha veLavan taka et Echav baha Gilad. Vayomer Lavan leYaakov Mehasita vatignov et Levavi vatinahek et binatai kishvuyot charev lamanach beta livroach vatignov oti lava velo hagat tali v'ashalechacha v'simcha uvshirim v'tov uvchino v'lo natashtani v'nashek levanai v'livnotai ata Yiskalta aso. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten haTorah.
Amen. Yay, Mazel Tov.
By the way, there will be candy, but we're going to wait till after the Haftarah, otherwise we'd just be throwing candy the whole time. That was Saffron Castle, and I think she has the distinction of the people watching from the farthest away in the UK. So that's a challenge for anyone who's farther away than that to tell us where you are. The fourth aliyah.
Tamol habat mitzvah Yehudit etel bat David v'Sara l'aliyah harvit chizki.
Baruch et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai. Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai.
Adonai.
Okay, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Yesh le'el yadi לעשות עמכם רע ואלוהי אביכם אמש שמר אלי לאמור הישמר לך מדבר עם יעקב מטוב עד רע ואתה הלוך הלכת כי נכספת לבית אביך למה גנבת את אלוהי ויען יעקב ויאמר ללבן כי יראתי כי אמרתי פן תגזול את בנותיך מאמי אם אשר תמצא את אלוהיך לא יחיה נגד אחינו הכר לך מה עמדי וכך לך ולא ידע יעקב כי רחל גנבתם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Shemo.
נותן התורה.
Amen. Yeah, Mazal Tov. Yay.
So, of course, that was Leslie Hyacin, and we were trying to investigate when the last adult B'nai Mitzvah occurred here. We've had several over the years, but it seems to be 2004. So, and there were exactly 9 then, as there are now, but it really is an accomplishment. It's so hard to pull this together and to stick together as this class has done. So, let's bring up our next Bar Bat Mitzvah.
Tamod habat mitzvah pesha basha bat Natan v'Sara l'aliyah hamishit chizki.
Should be in the right spot.
Baruch et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
ויבוא לבן באוהל יעקב ובאוהל לאה ובאוהל שתי האמהות ולא מוצא ויצא מהאוהל לאה ויבוא באוהל רחל ורחל לקחה את הטרפים ותשימם בחר הגמל ותשב עליהם וימשש לבן את כל האוהל ולא מצא ותאמר אל אביה אל יחיד בעיני אדוני כי לא אוכל לקום כי דרך נשים לי ויחפש ולא מצא את הטרפים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם בתוכנו. נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו
נותן התורה.
אמן. יישר כוח, מזל טוב.
Yasher Koach and Mazel Tov to Paula Green. And we are on verse 36 of chapter 31. The sixth Aliyah is being called up.
תעמוד הבת מצווה, שיר בת זליג ומלכה, לעלייה השישית חזקי.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר ברך בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני
וברוך שמו.
נותן התורה.
אמן.
ברכו את אדוני
ברוך
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו.
נותן התורה.
אמן. יישר כוח. מזל טוב.
The cheering section for Melody
Cheering.
Bryant. And Mazel Tov Yasher Koach to the newest congregant among the B'nai Mitzvah, and welcome to the family as well. So we're now up to the seventh Aliyah. You might be wondering, wait, 7 Aliyahs, but there are more than that number of people left. Are we leaving someone out? No. We can add extra Aliyahs. It's routinely done in some synagogues, and we are certainly going to do that in this case. But the seventh Aliyah.
Ta'amod habat mitzvah basha gittel bat Elia l'aliyah hashvit chizki.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach li'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Hayiti vayom achalani chorev vekerach balayla vatidad shenati me'enai zeli esrim shena bivetecha Avaticha abach esrei shena bishtei vinotecha v'sheshanim bitzonecha v'tahalef et maskuati aseret monim lulei Elohei Avi Elohei Avraham Ufa ha Yitzhak hayali ki ata rekam shelachtani et oni ve'et yagia kapai racha Elohim v'yohach amesh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Yashikov, yay!
Mazel tov to Barbara Rothstein. And so for our next Aliyah, before we get to that, Jake, did anyone put into the chat where they're coming from or calling in from or zooming in from? Albuquerque? Wow. New Haven. I bet there's even a Norwalk or two. That's far. Miami. We're about to do Little Rock. Sarasota. Okay. Crossing state lines. Okay, that's great. Anyway, I have a feeling there are more, and we'll find out. But Little Rock, are you there?
We are here.
All right.
Okay. How you doing, Little Rock?
We're exhausted, but we're here. I have my peak here.
So, fresh from a visit to the Clinton Library, Julie Harris has the next Aliyah, and she's going to be called up now.
Tamor habat mitzvah Yocheved Aviva bat Shlomo Halevi v'Dina Rivka L'aliyat Hosafa Chizki.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamevarach le'olam vared. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu michol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Yavayan Lavan Vayomer El Yaakov Habanot Benotai Vahabanim Banai Vahatzon, Soni, Vekol, Asher, Ata, Rohe, Lihu, Believe Notai, Ma'ase, La'ele, Hayom, O, Live Nehen, Asher, Yaladu, Va'ata, Leha, Ni Rita, Barit, Ani, Va'ata, Va'ya, Le'ed, Ani, Uvene, Ha. Vayi Koch, Yaakov, Avi, Vai, Ri, Mecha, Matzai, Va. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata oto chaynu chenu. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch
noten
Shemo.
Amen. Mazel Tov and Yasher Koach to Julie, who there's a wedding out there, and that just shows you how hard it was to find a date that worked for everyone in this class, and then to find 3 dates that were 4 or whatever as we kept going along. But fortunately, we're able to do this through technology. So, Julie, don't go away. And we're going to continue now with the 9th Aliyah.
Ya'amod habar mitzvah Avraham Manes ben Avraham v'Sara Laliyat chosafa Chazak chazak.
Verse 46.
Baruch atah, Baruch Adonai Hamevorah.
Baruch Adonai hamborach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol hamim vatan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten haTorah. Vayomer Yaakov lechav liktu avanim. Oops.
Vayikhu.
Vayikhu avanim. Vayochelu sham.
Asugal.
Vaya'agal.
Veochelu.
Vayochelu sham al hagal. Vayikra lo lavan yegar sahaduta. Vayakov karalo gal aid. Vayomer lavan hagar hazeh aid. Beni uvenecha hayom al kain karashim Shemo gal aid v'ha mitzpah asher amar yegar yitzef Adonai beni uvenecha ki nisater ish mere'ehu im te'aneh et benotai ve'im tikach Nashim el ein beni benotai ein ish imanu re'eh Elohim ed beni uvenecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'toreinu. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach.
Mazel Tov and Yasher Koach to Brian Steranka. And so now for the 10th Aliyah, which is Acharona, the Acharon Aliyah, the last regular Aliyah, we have a special guest to call her up.
Tamod, 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 Tamod Habat Mitzvah. Frado Bat Yehuda Menachem Verut Habat Mitzvah. Chazak, Chazak, Chazak.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Lavan liYaakov, Hine hagal hazeh, v'hine hamatzeva, asher yariti beini uveinecha. Eid hagal hazeh, ve'eda hamatzeva, imani ani lo evor elecha. Et hagal hazeh ve'im ata lo tevor elai. Et hagal hazeh ve'et hamateva hazot l'ra'ah. Elohei Avraham ve'Elohei Nahor Vayishpatu beinenu Elohei Avihem Vayishava Yaakov B'fachad Aviv Yitzhak Vayizbach Yaakov Zeva Bahar Vayikra Le'ehav Le'ehal Lahem vayochalu lehem vayalinu bachar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten haTorah.
Amen.
Koach and Mazel Tov. Fran Ginsburg, called up, of course, by Rabbi Jerry Ginsburg. And so we've reached the end of the regular aliyot. We rise now for the Chatzi Kaddish.
יקדע ויקדע שמי רבה בעלמא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דרכו בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יפרח וישתבח ויפאר וירומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמה ומרו אמן.
Please be seated. And so the cantor is going to be doing the maftir. We're on page 187, chapter 32, verse 1. Ta'amod hachazan chaviyudit bat meir v'chaya gitol maftir.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah וישכם לבן בבוקר וינשק לבניו ולבנותיו ויברך אתם וילך וישוב לבן למקומו ויעקב הלך לדרכו ויבקעו בו מלאכי אלוהים ויאמר יעקב כאשר ראה מחנה אלוהים זה ויקרא שם המקום ההוא מחניים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
You know, this is a special thing for you too.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Ginsburg's. Come on up. Yamod, Abba, Tamod, Likila, and we all rise.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל פי אדוני פי יד משה. תורה, 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 תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 תורה ציווה לנו משה.
So we can put it over here when you're
We can
done.
invite the class down
You can be seated.
for the Haftarah. Come on down, everyone.
Okay, so we come to the Haftarah, and you'll find it in your Chumashim on page 188, 189. In your Gideon Bibles, I have no idea. You'll find it in the PDF. And the class is going to be reciting the blessings together, as you can see, sort of clustered. Because they're not directly in front of a mic, it'll be a little harder for those online to hear them do the blessings. But each of their individual verses, they'll be coming up to the mic to do that. So I mentioned candy before. Does anyone here have a piece of candy? Okay, so if you raise it up now put it down and don't make noise with it. So at the very end, when Cantor and I sort of signal after the final blessings, we can shower them with sweetness. Now, because of COVID, we're not going to have everyone rush up to collect the candy, but if we could have a designated candy collector, that would be great. Maybe just, if you see no one coming up, then you can do it. Might be the easiest thing to do. So let's come to the Haftarah for Vayetze as we read again about the journey of Jacob and how it's reflected in the Haftarah. Just a reminder that we're not using cell phones or cameras in here. Thanks.
צדק. ויברח יעקב שדה ארם, ויעבוד ישראל באישה, ובאישה שמר, ובנביא העלה אדוני את ישראל ממצרים, ובנביא נשמר. הכעיס אפרים תמרורים, ודמיו עליו יטוש, וחרפתו ישיב לו אדוניו.
כי דבר אפרים רטט, נשאו בית ישראל, וישם בבעל וימות. ועתה יוסיפו לחתו, ויעשו לכם מסכה מכספם ותנומם, עצבים מעשי הראשים כולו, לכם הם אומרים זובחי אדם עגלים ישקון.
לכן יהיו כהנם בוקר, וחתל משקים הולך, כמוץ יסוער מגורן, וכשן מהרובה. ואנוכי אדוני אלוהיך מארץ מצרים, ואלוהים זולתי לא תדע, ומושיע עם בלתי. אני ידעתיך במדבר, בארץ תלוות.
כמריתם ויסבעו, שבעו וירום ליבם, על כן שכחוני, ויהי להם כמו שאכה, כנמר על דרך אשור, אפגשם כדוב שקול, ויקרא סגור ליבם, ואוכלם שם כלביא, היד השדה תבקעם. שיהתך ישראל כי בי ועזרך.
אהי מכך אפוא ויושיעך בכל עריך, ושופטך אשר אמרת תנעלי מלך ושרים, אתן לך המלך באפי ויקח בעברתי. צרור עוון אפרים צפונה הטאטו.
חבלי הולדה יבוא לו, ובין לא חכם, כי עת לא יעמוד במשבר בנים. מיד שאולפתם ממוות אגלם, אהי דבריך מוות Ehi kotovcha sheol, nocham yusater menai, ki hu bein achim yafri yavo kadim. Ruach Adonai ממדבר עולה, ויבוש מקרו, ויחרב מעיינו. הוא יישא אוצר כל כלי חמדה.
Tesham shameron ki marata Eloheha b'cherev yupolu olelehem yurutashu v'hariotav yivukau Shuva Yisrael ad Adonai Elohecha ki kashalta ba'avonecha Kiku yimachem divarim v'shuvu El Adonai imru elav kol tisa avon v'kak tov unshalima farim sifatenu.
Ashur lo yashinu asus lo nirkav velo nomar od Eloheinu lema'aseh yodenu asher b'cha yerucham yatom Erpa mishuvatam ohavim nidava ki shavapi mimenu ehyechata leYisrael yifrach kashushana velach sharashav Kalevanon.
Yalehu Yona Kotav Vahi Halzayit Hodo Zore Achlo Kalavanon Yeshuvu Yosheve Si Zesilo Yehayu Dagan Yayef Rehu Hagafen Zichro Kien Levanon.
Ephraim Mali od la'atzabim Aniti va'ashurenu Ani kivrosh ra'anan mimeni peryecha nimtza mi chacham vayeva'en ele navon v'yeda'em ki yesharim darchei Adonai v'tzadikim yelechuvam ופושעים ייכשלו בם.
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. Amen. Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. Okay, so hold your fire, hold your fire. I'd like to ask the class to take 2 steps forward and 3 steps to your left. Right now, Paula can't be seen by some family members on TV, and I want to make sure they can see her receiving this candy. Let's go.
Simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov, yehelanu. Simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov, Yisrael, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov, yehelanu.
Mazel tov.
Ooh.
So since no one jumped up to collect the candy, no, it's okay. I want to ask all of those who became bar and bat mitzvah on this pulpit, who are now young adults, to come up and collect the candy. Let's go.
All right,
I'm looking at you, Josh.
here they come.
Or who would have had they been here at the time. All right, we're going to continue with our service. There's so much more that is I really want to get to, because we're going to hear from our class in English. Before we do that, though, let's turn back in our prayer books to page 173. If I can have your attention. Shh. The healing prayer, Mishaberach, and within our families, the families of our celebrants, there are so many who have been ill and so many who have not made it this far, and we think of them. They're mentioned, many of those whom we think of in their memory. We're thinking of them today in the booklet, but also for those who are suffering throughout our world. We've been through a lot of inconvenience these past 3 years in getting to this date, but so many have been through so much worse. So let's sing on their behalf the Mishaberach prayer, and anyone who'd like to at home place names into the chat for special healing, feel free to do so.
Mishaberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
The class has chosen a couple of English readings, some poems, and that express sort of the feeling that we all have today. So we have The Journey by Mary Oliver. It's on page 9 of the B'nai Mitzvah booklet. And who better to recite this than the one who's on the journey right now? Julie?
The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles, mend my life. Each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations. Though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, you left their voices behind. The stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own. I kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.
Thank you. And you'll find on the next page, page 10, we are grateful. Hope and Brian, we all went through transitions during this 3-year process. They got married. So, inspired by the love in the room that they felt. No, actually, they were going to get married anyway. But anyway, such a pleasure. We are grateful.
We are grateful each morning for the fresh promise of a new day, a day of new experience, of warmth and friendship, of new tasks undertaken, new fruits planted, of efforts brought to fruition, of bountiful harvests reaped.
We are grateful each day for the creative and nurturing capacities we have been granted, for the compassion to sense those in fear, in hunger, and in pain, for the opportunity to share some of our bounty with those less fortunate. We are grateful each evening for the rest that comes after the day's tasks are done, for the satisfaction of enjoying the fruits of our labors, and for the opportunity to share this completeness with our neighbors.
And hope you'll stay.
So hope we're going to do the Ashrei now. So go get your book, and while you are, we're on page 181. And Hope is going to lead us in the Ashrei prayer. And right after that, we'll be returning the Torah to the Ark. So Rabbi and Dr. Ginsburg, you're on deck.
Ashrei yoshvei ve'itecha, od yehallelucha selah.
Ashrei ha'am shekach lo, Ashrei ha'am sh'Adonai Eloha.
Tehillah leDavid, aromimcha lahai ha'melech, v'avacha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
B'chol yom avarechecha, v'halel shemcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai u'me'olal me'od, ve'ligdulato ein cheker.
דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, וגבורותיך יגידו.
Hadar kivod hodecha, v'divrei niflotecha asicha.
ועזוז נורותיך יאמרו, וגבורותיך אספרנה.
Zecher rav tuvcha yabiu, v'tzidkatcha yiranenu.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדול חסד.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני האדם גבורותיו, וכבוד האדם מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
עיני כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעתו.
פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראוהו באמת.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, וכל הרשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה,
מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה.
Let's rise. We're on page 183. We'll be returning the Torah to the Ark. And Fran will lead us.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nishkav shemo levado, Odo Eretz Shamayim, Vayarem keren yamo, Dilat lecha, Hasidav, Lifnei Yisrael am kavodo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz hayim hi,
Zikima v'tov chacha meushar. דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם.
Please be seated. So this is where we normally would have the speech, you know, where the kid gets up and thanks everyone and says some cute jokes and talks about how much they get along with their little sister or whatever, or not. I think here we have an opportunity for a much more sophisticated message. And we have two Divrei Torah that are going to be recited here, although there are others in the booklet you should look at. And just know that most of this class prepared for the prior portions as well. So basically, I've got about a dozen sermons ready-made for me to use over the coming years without attribution. So I really appreciate all the work that you did. And I'd love to at some point even collect them seriously and let the congregation know the work times 3 that you've done. But meanwhile, Barbara is going to lead off, and then Melody will give her Devar Torah.
Today's portion, Vayetze, comes from the book of Genesis, and tells us about Jacob leaving his home and his travels to Haran. One night during his journey, he has a dream of angels ascending and descending a ladder that reaches from earth to heaven. Upon his arrival in Haran, he sees Rachel and immediately knows he wants to marry her. He begins working for his uncle Laban with the promise that after 7 years of work, he would be allowed to marry Laban's daughter Rachel. As we know, Laban tricked Jacob into marrying his other daughter Leah. Jacob did not give up hope or the desire to marry Rachel. He agreed to work another 7 years in order to marry his true love. In addition, he worked 6 more years in order to build his assets and be able to provide for his family. Finally, after 20 years of work, he fulfills his dreams and desire to be with his wife Rachel and their family. There are many interpretations of Vayatze and many lessons learned from it. I see Jacob's dream of angels ascending and descending the ladder that is firmly planted on earth and reaching up to heaven as a metaphor for the trials and tribulations that we all experience during our lifetime. No one is on a straight trajectory to success. Life is a winding road with many bumps and falls along the way. Those who have their feet firmly planted, just as the ladder in Jacob's dream was planted in the earth, have the drive to get up, brush themselves off, and try again to reach whatever the goal might be. The lesson I learned from Vayatze and applied to my studies is to never feel limited in aspirations or ability. We must always believe that we have the inner strength to succeed. Just as Jacob had the perseverance to work 20 years to achieve his goal, we must remember that very few things in life come quickly or without some sacrifice. The more effort we put into things, the sweeter the reward. Shabbat Shalom.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this special Shabbat. In this week's Parsha, Vayatze, Jacob has a vivid dreams of angels ascending and descending a ladder. This dream is recognized as a pivotal moment for Jacob, who affirms his devotion to God. He travels on to visit his relations in Haran. There he finds his beloved Rachel and, oh, by the way, marries Leah as well. There is a moment on his journey before he falls asleep where he selects a stone to use as a pillow of sorts. When he awakens from his remarkable dream, he sets that stone up as a pillar and pours oil on the top of it. I found this intriguing because I am a collector of stones, or sometimes seashells, as a token of places I have been. And of course, it is a Jewish tradition that stones are used to honor a visit to a gravesite. Why the emphasis on stones in this Parsha, and what role do they serve? In one interpretation, Jacob's gesture teaches us to commemorate memorable experiences in our own lives, pausing to celebrate them with our own version of Jacob's stones by taking a photograph, purchasing a postcard or souvenir, or some other form of remembrance. Another explanation, a bit more psychological, suggests that after the drama of his dream, Jacob found it necessary to do something tangible that would help to ground him. One can imagine that a dream such as his could trigger post-traumatic shock. Presumably, he needed to focus on the concrete. A physical act would allow Jacob time to reflect and to process the meaning of his vision. Interestingly, there appears to be a discrepancy in the language regarding the number of stones. The Parsha reads, "So Jacob took of the stones of that place and placed them at his head and lay down in that place. Upon awakening, Jacob takes the stone, which he had put under his head, and designates it as an altar by pouring oil on it. This begs the question, was it a single stone or several? According to a midrash, Jacob places his head on a specific stone, but when he awakens, he finds the stones have fused into one. The midrash contends that each of the 12 stones were envious of the one directly beneath Jacob's head. The stones joined so that their quarreling would cease. This sounds iconically Jewish. We've all heard the expression, 2 Jews, 3 opinions, right? In this case, one can interpret the fusing as a recognition of the importance of community, that there is inherent strength in melding individual perspectives into one. In the words of one rabbi, unity forges tolerance. The existence of stones in this parsha does not end there. Once Jacob arrives in Haran, he notices a well, and he queries the resident shepherds in his quest to locate Laban. As was the custom, there was a stone over the mouth of the well. Once the flocks were gathered, the shepherds would roll the heavy stone away and water the sheep. Rachel arrives, and Jacob is immediately enamored with her. So what does he do to attract her attention? He alone removes the heavy stone from the well. Rabbi Dow Ginsburg provides a practical explanation of these events. Unknown in Haran, Jacob would have been concerned that he be perceived as a person of importance. After all, Laban was a distinguished citizen of Haran, and Jacob was sent by his mother to find a wife within Laban's family. Jacob seized on the opportunity to impress Rachel, the shepherds, and ultimately Laban by this demonstration of strength. This single feat would garner Jacob instant fame, which would be appealing to a man of Laban's station. And as we read, the plan was successful. The irony of the tale is that more than 700 years elapsed before Jacob's vision would be fulfilled. It is said that King Solomon built the holy temple on the mountain and placed the holy ark on the stone where Jacob had rested. The significance for me is that in the end, stones are enduring. They could be obstacles to be moved or foundations to be built on, but either way, they could be used to mark our journey through life in much the same way they marked Jacob's. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom and Yasher Koach. Thank you so much. So now I get to give 9 separate B'nai Mitzvah charges. But in the interest of, Shabbat is a timeless realm, but still, we're going to consolidate a little bit. Although I've been waiting a long time to do this, and looking out and seeing you all, it's just so tempting. Maimonides said, "Much wisdom have I learned from my teachers, more from my colleagues, from my pupils most of all." And I've learned so much from the 9 of you. Some might call you our baseball team, or perhaps our Supreme Court, as currently constituted, or maybe our minion -1. But that begs the question, because it's not about the number. You are one. You are a team, a group, in a sense that this has all been thrust upon you together. You didn't know, all of you know one another before this began. But now you will share this moment forever. And you've shared these past 3 years, and you will share that forever as well. And I also want to add a shout out here. There are 11 who started with this group and did not complete the process for various reasons, most of them legitimate. I'm not sure I could have stuck it through 3 years the way you have. But they had other reasons too, and they're included. They're part of this process. You've been through so much, the 4 Torah portions, the many dates. I was beginning to wonder that maybe we would cover the entire Torah. We'd actually have 54 dates, and you'll have done a Devar Torah for the entire Torah. And wow, we were almost, seemed to be heading in that direction. So anyway, that's my way of saying that the 20, and I know some are watching right now, the 11 others are part of this family too. Still, you 9 are very, very special. And while you are one group, you're also 9 individuals. And the journeys, I'm sure some of you have read some of the little autobiographies that you put into the statements, into the booklet. The journeys are so spectacular and so diverse and so different from far-flung places like Poland and West Virginia and Long Island. It's even more exotic places. Of course, we talked about Great Britain and being represented in our chat, but also exotically meaning from other faiths coming into Judaism as part of this process. You've had to learn from several teachers, and that's not easy. Everyone has a different teaching style, and you've been able to adapt to the different styles of the teachers and take advantage of their incredible talents. And I want to mention Cantor Bear especially, who couldn't be with us here today, but he wrote a note in the booklet, and absolutely he is here in spirit. You've learned the value of commitment, but you already knew it, but the stick-to-itiveness that you had to deal with here probably is greater than anything, any other challenge you've had, or as great at least, in your life. I feel a real connection to each of you individually. I mean, some of you I've traveled with, been to Israel, of course, life cycle events. With a couple of you, I'm even related by dog, and but once removed. Anyway, you've all learned. I've learned the value of commitment. We had to not just go through this as if it was going to happen inevitably. We had to keep redeciding to do this. It wasn't just like, okay, we're canceling a date. It's, we're canceling a date, but we're going to find another date. And every time things seemed to be getting better and better and better in terms of the world out there, there was another obstacle in the way. So it was a lot like Abraham and Sarah as they sought out their new land, and of course Jacob in our portion. You found out for yourselves that when you start a journey, you don't really know where it's going to end. And we couldn't tell you where this was going to end. And of course, although this is a stopping point, this isn't the end either. And we didn't really tell your families when it was going to end. And I have to give a shout out to them too. Some are here, some online, others here in spirit. You know, the epic commitment that your loved ones have made has been matched by your epic commitment to them. And you knew in some intuitive way, maybe more explicit, that they were doing this for you. And they talk about it in some of their stories. So we've learned from this 9. We've learned from you individually. And yet you've also taught us quite a bit more than we could have imagined. Your 4 portions actually form a sentence. I figured this out. I tried, it's a little exercise. Vayetze bahar bechukotai chukat. All right? And you journeyed to the mountain where you found in the mitzvot, the chukot, of Judaism, laws to guide your life. It's a loose translation. But you have climbed that mountain. At the same time, you've been a shining reminder to all of us of what it means to plumb the depths of our tradition, of Jewish experience, as if for the first time. And the stakes couldn't be higher. In 1948, Ben-Gurion sent Golda Meir on an emergency trip to America, where she needed to raise $6 million from American Jewry in just a few weeks. Or the fledgling Jewish state, as yet unborn, would not be able to withstand the onslaught of 5 Arab armies. She spoke to a gathering of Jewish leaders in Chicago and told them, "You have 2 choices, we have only one. We will fight, that decision has been taken. You can decide one other thing, whether we will live." 6 weeks later, she returned from America, having raised $50 million. One might think that the stakes aren't so high right now, or the situation so dire, and it may not be, but the choices are still the same. By making the choice you have, you've taken it to your hearts and worn it for frontlets between your eyes. You have become more committed and more knowledgeable and more comfortable Jews. You've embraced your heritage as a gift that it is, but you haven't put it on the shelf. You've made the choice for Jewish survival, but it's not just for Jewish survival, it's renewal that you have made the choice. And the message that you've sent is a powerful one for your families, for your community, for our congregation, for the Jewish people everywhere. And it's a message that I can't send. Your message is that anyone can do this. And your message is that everyone must. Everyone in some way must show this extraordinary commitment to the Jewish future for there to be a Jewish future. And you've shown that Jewish renewal is synonymous with personal and spiritual renewal. You could have gone to an ashram with this time, but you chose the Bima, you chose the Torah, and you chose life. So this is what I couldn't teach you in class. I couldn't tell you how I'd all feel today and how much we were depending on you. I didn't want to burden you with that, but now you know. Generations move through you, and you span them. And today you have ensured that the Jewish people will continue to wrestle with the Torah for generations to come, and that we will continue to choose life. So I'd like to ask now that the class rise, as I bless you in the words of the Talmud tractate Brachot. May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. May you trust in generations past and yet to be. May your heart be filled with intuition, your words with insight. May songs of praise ever be on your tongue, and your vision be on a straight path before you. May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in righteousness, even as you ever yearn to hear the words of the holy ancient one of old. Mazel tov to all of you. May you go from strength to strength, from generation to generation. And now you have a kavanah that you're each going to recite part of. It's found on page 11 of the B'nai Mitzvah booklet.
Attentive to the call of my heart to do good, drawn by the pull of ancestors to sanctify life, and held by the bonds of community.
Alive to the mystery and possibility of redemption, I ask for strength and resolve that I may do your will. Through the discipline of Mitzvah, I shore up myself against despair and express my faith in the potential of our partnerships to repair our world.
You who gave us the gift of Torah, I am mindful of many blessings of my life.
And I thank you for sustaining my body and guiding the maturation of my soul.
That I may maintain a wide perspective, hear your voice, appreciate what is sacred, and make righteous choices along the path of my return.
Julie?
Blessed are you, our God, Spirit of the universe, who made us holy through your commandments and commanded us to sustain them.
Amen.
Amen. And now if you can stay standing, I'm going to invite the rest of the congregation to rise as well. And we are going to collectively bless you. And in doing this, both all of those of you online as well and those of you with us, what I'm going to ask is that if you have somebody directly with you, each of the students, that you look that person in the eyes and that person places their hands on your shoulder or your back, whichever they feel comfortable. If you are part of a group, of a family, if you each would like to place a hand and connect, we're going to connect in a way that we haven't been able to in this time, forming these circles around our B'nai Mitzvah and forming a canopy, an embrace of love and light. As we chant the priestly blessing, I will chant in Hebrew, the rabbi in English, and then the whole congregation, and if you're online, you can even type it in, Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. So, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May Adonai bless and protect you.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May Adonai's countenance shine on you and bestow kindness upon you.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May Adonai's countenance be lifted toward you, and may Adonai grant you and all who are near to you and to all the world peace.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. And you may take a moment and stay in this
for a second, if you have something to say to one another, just a hug, and then the rest of the congregation, we may be seated. As you take your seats, I want to share with you this gift that the rabbi and I have for each of the members of the class. This is Lawrence Kushner's Book of Letters. And as you have been embarking on this journey and learning, some of you with knowledge from long before of the Hebrew alphabet, and some of you who have really learned it to be able to fulfill the mitzvot today, this book of letters takes a deeper dive into each of the Hebrew letters kind of as a sacred portal. Each of the letters representing different points of access to the divine. And it's really beautiful, and we hope that it will inspire you to the next level, to dig and continue to wrestle with, learn, and find deep meaning hidden within our alphabet, our traditions, and Hebrew, which is so beautiful. So we have one of these for each of you.
The cantor and I both found a lot of meaning in that book when we were younger. Well, I was much younger. When it came out in the 1970s, and it's just an incredible book, beautifully drawn by Lawrence Kushner. And we were thinking, what can we give you? You know, maybe Kiddush cups? Nah, I don't think so. You have Kiddush cups. You know, so we wanted to go beyond the typical bar bat mitzvah gift. But anyway, it's from the two of us, and we are so proud of you.
We're so proud of you. And as you both spoke, and I read the Divrei Torah in the packet, which I hope all of you will have a chance to take a look if you haven't seen them. It's really, they're really outstanding, as well as the personal statements of this journey that all of you have been on. And while we were preparing, we spoke of this ladder and these angels going up and down. But I also, in this blessing of you today, would like to bless you with the prayer that I love to sing. I love to sing it to my children. I love to sing it to those who are embarking on a journey, that they be guided by the angels. And the angels of the bedtime Shema are Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael. And these four angels, they come to us when we sleep, and we can bring them nearby. And all along Shekhinah, the dwelling in our realm of the divine, is over around our heads. And may all of you continue on these journeys that you are on, to be accompanied and guided by divine presence, however you experience that to be. And so I'm going to invoke our angels for you today. B'Shem Hashem Elohei Yisrael, Yimini Michael, Mismoli Gabriel, Umilfanai Uriel, Umeacharai Raphael, V'aroshi, Shechinat El, Yai-rai, rai-rai, yai-rai, rai-rai, yai-rai, rai-rai, rai-rai, yai-rai, 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 rai-rai, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Ah
Mazel Tov. So we're going to return to our service as we come to the Musaf, page 184. We rise for Chatzi Kaddish, followed by the beginning of the Amidah.
יתגדל ויקדש מרבה, ויעלמה דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביום יחון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעל מעל מיה. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ורומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן מעלמה ואמרו אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אליון גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיים את מטריו להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מקל חיים בחסד מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים נעריצך ונקדישך כסוד שיח שרפי קודש המקדישים שמך בקודש ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך הארץ כבודו כבודו מעלה מעלה עולם איה מקום כבודו כבודו מעלה מעלה עולם איה מקום כבודו משרתיו שואלים שואלים זה לזה איה מקום כבודו משרתיו שואלים שואלים זה לזה איה מקום כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ממקומו הוא יפן ברחמים ויחונם המייחדים שמו ערב ובוקר בכל יום תמיד פעמיים באהבה שמה אומרים שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ישמיענו ברחמיו ברחמיו שנית שנית לעיני כל חי והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו ברחמיו שנית שנית לעיני כל חי להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, לדור ודור, לדור ודור. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול, כי אל מלך גדול, גדול וקדוש אתה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Amen. And you can take as long as you'd like to do the silent part of the Musaf. We're going to move along, though, and go to page 203. Feel free to be seated. Kaddish Shalem.
יתגדל ויקדש מרבה, בעלמא דברה כרותיו ימליך מלכותיו, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחייתך בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שם מרבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיא. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר וירומם וינסה, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה, בריחו לאלה מן כה ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה מעלמה ואמרו אמן. תקבל צלותכון ובעודכון הו ישראל, קודם אבוהון ושמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ויעקב ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ויעקב ישראל, ויעקב יושבי תבל, ויאמרו
Amen. And now we go to Aleinu on 205, which Melody will lead with the cantor. And we all rise because you were just getting too comfortable.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula yotze breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzod, velo samanu kimishbekot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vigor aleinu kecho hamonam, va'anaknu korim, Umishtakavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
And we're seated.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Our congregation this week mourns the passing of Sheldon Perlman. And we pray that the family be up to our efforts to support them, that they be comforted among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And as we now recite the names of yahrzeits for the coming week, I also call attention to the dedication pages 2 and 3 of the B'nai Mitzvah booklet, all the names of the people that we're recalling here today. This coming week, Herman Gavronsky, Stanley Epstein, Beverly Frankel, Mildred Grossman, Frederica Lewis, David Markowitz, Elliot Mandel, Molly Goodman, Jules Kellner, Joseph Pratt, Fred Sobel, Claire Greenwald, Herbie Katz, Elizabeth Chimes, Estelle Colton, Jerome Fruithandler, Isidore Sokoransky, Samuel Teplinski, Sarah Walker, Herbert Doinow, William Landy, Matthew Klein, Charles Russell, Robert Cohen, Evelyn Finchler, Shirley Melnick, and Harry Resnick. And feel free to add any other names. Those of you who are at home can write them into the chat if you'd like, or just speak them out loud. Those who mourn and those who are commemorating Yortzeit, rise now for the mourner's Kaddish on page 207. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah v'alma divrach irutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael b'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach li'olam u'lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu li'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
V'imiru, 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 amen. V'imiru, 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 amen.
So we have 3 candidates for announcements in the back. Leslie's going to.
Shabbat Shalom. Mazel Tov to all the B'nai Mitzvah and their family. This was wonderful, and I'm so glad I got to be here to experience it. So a few things. We want to thank JFS for donating these food baskets. We'll go to the food pantry. And also, no. And then Beldadi's donated the Kiddush. No? I was taking directions. No? Okay. Also, we found an earring. If anybody has lost an earring, check your ears. Yes. Okay, we found the winner. Okay, got that part right. So we have a few announcements tomorrow.
Carol, that was actually a bid. I just want you to know that.
Okay. A few things. We have a lot of things coming up. Tomorrow morning, bagels with the board here from 9 to 11. This Tuesday is a blood drive. You need to make an appointment first here on Tuesday afternoon. On Thursday night at 7:30 on Zoom, Ambassador Maron Rubin, the General Consulate will be speaking, so please look out at the announcements for that. And then coming up next, a week from Monday, the 22nd, it's 7:30, is the Sisterhood and the Tzedek Committee book discussion on the personal librarian. So there are a lot of Hanukkah events coming up, so please look out for that, including Hanukkah Shabbat, the Vodka Latka by the Social Committee, and then Be the Light gift exchange. So thank you very much, and again, Mazel Tov.
Sorry for the confusion, just because the class donated, and also to thank us all. So, and they even donated these little challahs that we were going to throw if we didn't have candy, but. Anyway, they'll be using those for the Kiddush right at the end. Paula, going to help us with the Don Olam?
Yes, but everybody's got to help me too.
2:11.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra, Liet Naso, B'chefza Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam,
ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא
אדון עולם.
והוא היה, והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה.
אדון עולם.
אדון עולם.
אדון עולם.
אשר מלך.
אשר מלך.
בטרם כל.
בטרם כל.
יציר נברא.
יציר נברא.
לעת נשוא.
לעת נשוא.
בחפץ הכל.
בחפצו כל.
אזי מלך שמו נקרא
אדון עולם.
והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירו.
אדון עולם.
בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה.
אדון עולם.
והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי בעת צרה.
אדון עולם.
והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנקוסי יום מקרא.
אדון עולם.
אדון עולם.
אדון עולם.
אשר מלך.
אשר מלך.
בטרם כל.
בטרם כל.
יציר נברא.
יציר נברא.
לעת נשוא.
לעת נשא.
בחפץ הכל.
בחפצו כל.
אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם. בידו אף כי רוחי, בעת ישן ואוירה. אדון עולם. ואם רוחי גוויתי, אדון אוהלי ולא ירא. אדון עולם. Last one.
Okay, we have plenty of time. So before we do the Kiddush, which will be the last thing that we're going to do, I'd like to ask Jake, I don't know if you can give us gallery view. You can do it from our, because I'd like us to see in here who's been watching us out there. And then right after the Kiddush, the people out there will have a chance to say Mazel Tov to the people in here. Can you unmute everybody too at the end? All right. So I know it's going to take a minute, but it's worth it to have them have a chance to say Mazel Tov to the people in here. Maybe while we're preparing for that, the class can come up and get ready for the Kiddush. So if you're out there, you should definitely put your camera on, and you can unmute in a minute to say Mazel Tov. Yes. Let's all rise in here.
Who's taking the lead? Baruch.
So, no, that's okay. Just doing Baruch right after? You want to do it? Okay.
Baruch Hagafen. Amen.
L'chaim. Yeah, you can take up whatever. Okay, so who's doing the hand washing? We can all do it together? All right. Anyway, okay.
Go ahead. Representative. Ready? Baruch Eloheinu melech haolam asher shanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Thank you. Okay, ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Te'avon l'chaim So let's let our guests from out of town say mazel tov to us. You're just gonna have to fight your way in. So whoever wants to start, go ahead. Oh, they're all muted? We're gonna
Come back.
guys, you can go in front of the screen if you
I
like.
love the idea.
Mazel tov, Fran.
Mazel tov.
Mazel
Mazel
tov.
Mazel tov. Very nice.
Mazel
tov, everyone.
Mazel
Hi,
tov to the whole
Fran.
class. You all rock.
Mazel tov, Saffron, and to the whole class.
We love you, Fran. We love you, Fran.
Barbara. Mazel tov, Barbara.
Oh, no, I can't see. Oh, there we are.
Mazel tov. My horse. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. It's all gone quiet.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov to all of you. So sorry I couldn't be there.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov to everyone.
Great job. Mazel tov. Wonderful. Thank you.
You were all awesome.
Mazel tov from Little Rock. You all rocked. Julie, really happy.
I don't think they heard.
No, it didn't.
Well,
Yeah, we
Mazel
did.
tov. Then. See what happens. Well, maybe you have to say before they show. I don't know. Maybe they showed
Mazel
us-
tov, Fran.
No, we didn't do it with the sound. Oh, that's cute.
Hi.
It's just in.
Oh, you were watching, I think. Mazel tov. It was amazing, right? I'm glad it's finally happened. It's been 3 years. That's when they started 3 years ago.
Before I even met you.
Mazel tov. Hi, everyone.
Okay? Okay.
Mazel tov from Royston.
I think that.
Oh, that's Joe.
Mazel tov to everybody.
Mazel tov, everyone, especially Barbara.
Press the button to say it.
You're not on.
Yeah. What about the share button?
Shout Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
My sister was leading a donor love. Press to unmute or hold body temporarily. I'm trying to like get us to say mazel. I don't want that. I just want to say mazel tov.